Hey everyone, it's Dan Charles with Lite Forex. It is June 13th, Saturday. I'm going to break down the major Forex pairs starting with the Australian USD. Please subscribe to the channel and go to the link in the description below this video. Okay, let's get into it. So I've been calling for that pullback to happen. You can see it happened on the Thursday, the 11th. Big drop. And then yesterday we came down, we hit this level I put in before, the 6,800 support. You can see it bounced off that 68 support. Let's see if it can continue that bounce. Obviously it bounced off that support, so let's see if this can continue the rally. But, you know, I look at the weekly chart, and to me, it looks like there could be more downside than this. You know, this was an incredible run on the Australian USD. It really needed this pullback. It was overdue. So it's a little bit, you know, I like the fact that it held that 68 support, pulled up, just showing that it could bounce on Monday. But I see signs that could still be more downside. So I'm kind of taking a wait and see approach for Monday with the Australian USD and a lot of these pairs actually. So the futures, kind of the same thing. It's hitting that 68 support, pulling up, but it is showing that resistance at 69. Came up, the high was 69.10, and then it dropped. So this is what I mean with the weekly chart. It really just shows that this could come down more. So I'm gonna stay bearish, but I want to watch and see if it has that bounce, that breakout on Monday. Euro USD, same type of thing. You know, this one I was calling a pullback. You know, even when it pulled back on the 5th, it pulled back. The 9th, it came down, held that support at 1.1250, bounced, still went higher, but then we put in that resistance at 1.14 and then drop. So here we are, we're above this support at 1.125, but the weekly chart just still tells me there's more downside. So it's a wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see how Monday plays out. I think that's the best approach sometimes, to just wait it out, see how things go. Here's the futures. It doesn't look too different. Sometimes it looks quite a bit different on the futures than the actual Forex pair, but you can really see that resistance off of 1.14. drop. We got that support, so it's really a wait and see. You know, I see signs that we got more downside, but it's positive that we held that support. So let's wait and see which way it goes. Pound is going to be the same type of scenario. Yeah, pound had a big drop on the 11th. Now, one thing I always talk about is when you got the moving average, this is the double exponential moving average. Whenever it's right in the center of the body of the candle, that usually or often is going to mean we're topping out and we're going to come down. You can kind of see that here. Here through the high and the low, we're dropping here, this candle here. And it's the same thing with a green candle as well. Right? You could look at that, say here, or here, or here. Goes up. So this, I was pretty confident we would still drop yesterday, but we're holding support at 1.25. We pulled up, and this, just like the other pairs we just looked at, to me it looks like there's more downside, but it is good that it held that support. So it's a wait and see as well. Let's take a look at the pound futures contract. Okay, so yeah, you can just see how this really pulled up. It's 25, pulling up, This could easily continue the break and continue going higher early next week, continuing this move. But it's a wait and see. Let's wait and see which way things go on Monday, and then that will set the tone for the week. That's what I like to do. Sometimes I just like to see what happens on Monday, and yeah, that just sets the tone for the week. New Zealand USD, similar type scenario. It held support at 64, pulling up. So let's see if it can have that break and continue this move. Now, usually when something's just going straight up like this, it's usually not going to continue going straight up like this. It's going to pull back. It's going to consolidate, go sideways, drop. And you know, the weekly chart is really telling me that this has more downside. So yeah, I think there's more downside on the New Zealand USD. But the positive is we did pull up on that 64 price. So we have some resistance levels, 64.5. Of course, 65 is going to be a key resistance price. It could still come up, hit 60 or close to 65, and then come down. So this one's going to be a wait and see as well on Monday. Let's see what the futures contract is saying. Pretty much the same thing. But it's very, very common when something's just going straight up like this. Straight up. When you're going straight up like this and you have your pullback, it's very rare to keep going straight up at that same degree. In fact, it almost never happens. It's more common. Go sideways, sideways. You could go sideways for a while, and then it's either going to continue the break but on a more of a normal type angle, or it's going to come down the other way. So it's really a wait and see. Yeah, so let's wait and see how that one plays out. USD Canadian dollar. So similar type scenario. This one I was saying it needed that rebound to the upside, and I really wanted to see it take out 34, but 35 was the important price. So it took out 35 on the 11th, and then yesterday it did come back, but then it pulled up. So it's holding support at 35, just like the opposite is happening on the pairs we just saw. That's showing that support. The support to the downside. This has got the support this way, pulling back up. Yeah, so this one looks like there's more upside. You can see here on the monthly chart, we hit actually support at this exact price. The low, the month of March, was 1.3315. You can see we hit that exactly 1.3315 price. So that is very, very key to note. You can see March was big for the USD CAD. And the last 3 months we've been pulling back, but just the fact that it hit that exact price, that support price, and then we got this long lower wick, it's really telling me that we should have more upside on the USD CAD coming. Let's take a look at the Canadian dollar. Yeah, Canadian dollar needing that pullback, showing that resistance at 75. Last time I made a video, I said that 75 was support. Now it's going to be resistance, and you can see it crossed 75 on the 10th, 75.105, and then dropped. And this was due for that pullback because this is just going straight up as well. Big pullback, and then yesterday it came up and hit resistance at 74. So it's hitting resistance at a lower price, hitting 73.920, pulling back. Yeah, so this could still come up a bit, but it just looks like the Canadian dollar has more downside when you look at the weekly chart. So I'm going to be bearish on the Canadian dollar and bullish on the USD CAD. Okay, USD yen. Now USD yen was looking quite bullish and then bearish. So we did pull up last day, putting in some higher lows. The low the previous day, 106.57. Last day we hit 106.58, pulling up. Long upper wick. You can see we're hitting resistance at 107, 50, pulling back. But you look at the weekly chart here, and you just look at that engulfing candle. Big move up for this week. Last week, we're just completely engulfing last week's candle. That's very, very bearish. So to me, this looks like there's more downside on this one. 106 is going to be a very important next level of support. Of course, we're at 107 right now, so that is very important support. So yeah, being at 107, this could still bounce higher, but it just, to me, it still looks like, you see something like this, it's definitely looking like there's more downside. Let's take a look at the yen futures. Okay, the yen futures, yeah, so this was pulling up, pulled back last day. You know, this one looks like this could come down more. This could come down more before it continues going up. So just like the USD yen looked very, very bearish and engulfed, this engulfed the opposite way. It really looks like this should be going up, but it might come down, touch the moving average before it continues going up. So that is how I'm going to play these Forex pairs early next week. Please subscribe to the channel. Go to the link in the description below this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.